Boy, you got me helpless. Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless. Down for the count and I'm drowning in them. Hi, I'm Aline, and this is an ukulele tutorial for Helpless from Hamilton. If you're looking for a play-along video, you can check out the other video that I made. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go over the strum pattern because it's the same for the entire song. Then I'll go over the two chords you'll need to play most of the song. And then finally I'll go over the places where the chords are different, as well as the little riff that I play at the end of the song. The strum pattern that you'll need to play the song is mute, down, mute, down. I'll demo this on open strings so you can see what I mean. Now, in order to mute the sound, I use a technique called left-handed muting. This involves taking the pinky finger on my left hand and using it to mute the sound. Now, this definitely takes some practice and some pinky acrobatics, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. So demoing on open strings, it'll sound something like mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. And you just repeat that over and over again for the entire song. Now, why exactly do I do left-handed muting? It's just a little bit easier to quickly mute the sound with your left hand as opposed to with your right hand. For instance, if you're playing this quickly, you can easily do something like mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. Whereas if you try to do the same thing with your right hand, it's a little bit harder to play, like mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. There's also a little bit more of a tapping noise, which you don't necessarily want in many cases. Now I'm going to show you the two chords you need to play like 80% of the song. The first chord that you'll need is an F major chord, and then the next chord is a B flat. So to play a B flat, use your index finger to bar the E and A strings, middle finger on the C string, and then ring finger on the G string. Once you've practiced the chords F and B flat, and you're comfortable switching between them, you can move on and try to learn how to play the chords with the strum pattern. Recall that the strum pattern is mute, down, mute, down. On open strings, this looks and sounds something like this: mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. And again, I'm using the pinky on my left hand to mute the sound. Now, how exactly you execute the left-handed muting is different for each chord. For the F major chord, you can actually just use your pinky to mute the sound, and so that looks and sounds something like this: mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. However, for the B flat chord, it's a little bit awkward to get your pinky here. Also, the B flat chord is a bar chord, which means that you're already pressing down all the strings. So what you can do in this case is, instead of using your pinky, just gently squeeze and release the strings. And when you release, that'll mute the sound. So this will look and sound something like this: mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. You'll notice that my pinky isn't doing anything, but my fingers are squeezing and releasing the fretboard. As a practice tip here, I would suggest practicing the two different ways of doing left-handed muting. So what you can do is you can just go and play a bunch of F major chords and practice using your pinky to mute. And then later you can try playing a bunch of B flat chords and practice squeezing and releasing the fretboard. Now I'm going to go over the chords you need to play the rest of the song. This happens just before each chorus. Now the chords that you need are D minor. This is basically an F chord, but take your ring finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the C string. You have F, B flat, and C sus4. Now C sus4 is just the C major chord, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. But you also take your index finger and you plop it onto the 1st fret of the E string. And that just makes the C chord sound a little bit fancier. The strum pattern for this section is the same as for the rest of the song. It's mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, mute, down. However, since some of these chords are harder, it's a little bit harder to execute the left-handed muting, so I would suggest practicing the pinky shenanigans with an F major chord first. So for a D minor chord, the strum pattern sounds something like mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. Then it goes into an F, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. Then it goes into B flat. Remember, no pinky, and you just squeeze, and it sounds like mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. And then it goes into a C sus4. Now this one's a little bit more of a stretch, so it sounds more like mute, down, mute, down, mute, down, mute, down. Now I'm gonna go over the end of the song. This includes the chorus after Hamilton's rap and the "In New York You Can Be a New Man" outro. The reason why I'm going over this is because, one, in the last chorus, there's a small difference in the F, B flat chord pattern, and two, the outro starts with the wedding theme, which I pick on the ukulele, and it has some different chords as well. The last chorus after Hamilton's rap mostly uses the chords F and B flat, like much of the rest of the song. However, I make an exception here, which is for the part after Eliza sings, "I look into your eyes and the sky is the limit." There's a bit of a vocal run on I, and for that bit, instead of transitioning from B flat to F, I go from a B flat to a D minor. And the reason for this is pretty subtle, but the vocal run has a bunch of the notes from the D minor chord. So I'll just play you the B flat D minor and sing the vocal run, and then play you B flat F for comparison. And in the play along, I play the first version. So starting from the line before, look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. That was with a D minor. Now with an F, it sounds like, look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. So I play a D minor there instead of an F. Finally, I'm going to go over how to play the outro, starting with the picking tab. The important thing to keep in mind when reading a picking tab is that it's generally based off a chord shape. What that means is that you want to be holding down a chord shape with your left hand, and then just make some minor adjustments to the shape to get some notes in the tab. Now, the way that this tab starts is you start with an F major chord. You'll start by plucking the G and C strings. Now this is best if you have a low G ukulele, but you could also play this on a high G. And then you pluck the melody. And so you hear the melody on the higher strings there. And then for the next little bit, it's pretty similar. You'll start with plucking the G and C strings. However, in order to play the melody, you'll need your ring finger. So it'll sound something like this. And then, so again, it'll sound like. After that picking part, here's the chords that I use to play through the "In New York You Can Be a New Man" section. You start off with a D minor. You go to a B flat. Go to a B flat sus2. This is just a B flat minus your middle finger. And then you close with an F. Now for this section, I'm not using the mute down strum pattern, so you don't need to worry about left-handed muting. I'm just playing single strums throughout. I hope that this tutorial was helpful in helping you learn Helpless from Hamilton. Once you practice the chords and the strum pattern, you can try playing along to the play along video. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and you can also hit the little bell icon. That way you'll get notified whenever I put out a new video. I make new videos every Sunday. Now if there's anything else that you would like to see, play-alongs, tutorials for the ukulele, please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.